My approach to money has changed through my 20s, 30s, 40s, and it continues to evolve. And I'm in a privileged position as to where I'm able to make good money as a result of luck, as a result of good career choices, and having built a career over 20 odd years. But it wasn't always that way. And I want to talk a little bit about my approach to money, where that came from, how it's evolved, and where I think I'm headed to money-wise. And I know money is not a very easy subject to talk about. It's a very sensitive subject. I don't think it should be. I think when something's as important as money in everyone's lives, it should be more transparent. There should be more education around money. We should talk about it a little bit more than we do. And but I do understand that it is a sensitive subject because not everyone has the amount of money to be able to live comfortably. So I am empathetic towards that. So I didn't grow up around money. My parents weren't well off, but they made sure we had all we needed. So it didn't feel like we didn't have money when I was younger. But when you get older, you start to look back at things in your life and realize that there may not have been as much money as you thought. My dad wasn't good with money. He didn't like spending money, first of all. And I think a lot of that rubbed off on me. I took that into my adult life. I think I still do a lot of that, where I don't want to spend on certain things. I'm starting to try to get out of that. And that's what I mean by evolving how I think and how I approach money in my adult years as I get older. My mom was always generous with money, but she didn't have a lot of it, and that was going into her older years as well, where to the point where I help to take care of her and I send her money back every month. And I'm okay with that because I think she would do the same for me if I weren't in a good position. So I don't think there's anything wrong with helping people in your family, especially when you are able to. But that's not the point of the video. What I want to talk about is how my beliefs about money and how my approach to money has changed. And I think it comes from a lot of one observation, two mistakes, and it continues, like I say, to evolve and to get to a point where I'm more and more comfortable talking about money, dealing with money, spending money, saving, investing. And that also comes from a lot of learning. I'm a lifelong learner and I love learning about things. I do enjoy learning about money. I do enjoy talking about money because, again, I think it's so important in our lives that we should be educating ourselves about this. And being in a more privileged position, I think it's allowed me to take risks more often and to experiment and make mistakes where other people might not have that amount of leeway to do that. And so I'm incredibly grateful for that. And it's given me, a lot of experiences to be able to go back and look back and go, that was a good decision and that was not a good decision, and how do I rectify that, or how do I not make a bad decision like that going forward. So I think a lot of that came also by when I moved to the US. The environment, especially in New York where I was, encourages risk taking, and that's something I'm learning to do more often because spending money hasn't always come easy to me. But I think what I'm learning is one of the best ways to have money come back to you is by spending and keeping it in circulation, because things in movement and things that continuously move continually come back to you. So I'm trying not to hoard money and save it because I'm scared of losing and not having any money. I'm trying to move, and I'm trying to treat money like it's plentiful And when you do it and you're generous with it and you give it out and you spend it, it does find a way back to you. It doesn't mean being reckless with the money, but it does mean spending like you're not afraid that you won't have any left over, because I think it's a universal law that what you put out there comes back to you. And I've found that multiple times in various scenarios in my life. I think that you have to spend money on what you enjoy. Do what gives you enjoyment, spend your money accordingly. And for me, one of the main ways I do get enjoyment is spending money on things that might make me more money. So is that the right way of doing it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's what makes me enjoy spending money. I enjoy going to a yard sale, picking something up for $5 and then being able to sell it for $100. That just does bring me some sort of joy, and it's not the same way for everybody. I like, if I'm going to go and buy something, a pair of shoes or something, I try and buy something else that I'll be able to sell at a markup to be able to offset some of that cost. And again, it may not be the right thing for everyone, but that's what works for me. If you like spending money on experiences and travel and whatever, on clothing, do that and enjoy doing that, and don't be afraid of the money not coming back to you. I think the fear is what keeps it from coming back to you. None of this is financial advice. This is just the way I'm dealing with money in my life. Material things bring me less joy these days. I used to like having, a new phone, a new pair of shoes, all these kinds of things that are more material in nature. And I've realized as I get older, I don't want these things. I don't want a lot of things lying around the house, and they don't give me much joy beyond the initial excitement of getting the thing. I still fall into the trap sometimes of wanting something new that is completely frivolous and, is not something that it's not something that's going to increase in value. But I do less and less of that now. So my money goes into investments, save the money and invest it essentially. I don't know what I want to use that money on yet. I know that I want to have a comfortable life later on. So that's where the bulk of my thinking is, where I'm putting that money away and being able to have it buy me freedom from a job later on, be able to buy me a comfortable style of living later in my life. And I think that's where I'm at right now. That's where the bulk of the money that I'm spending is going, to be able to put it into vehicles like investments, so that I'm able to live a comfortable life later on. But I still don't know what that life is going to look like. I do know that money is going to enable that in a much better way. This is the only edited part of this video. I wanted to say thanks for watching again. I appreciate your time. Talk to you soon.